What's good, my fellow peasants? How you all doing? Shipped versus sold. This was a video I actually wanted to do a couple of months ago, just because it's one that I've wanted to talk about, get a couple of gripes out that I've had on this subject, but it's super relevant now. Super relevant now that Final Fantasy 15, we've got those 5 million units shipped figures, and the arguments they're coming out, the same ones that come out for Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted 4, you name it. Any game that's ever made, this same argument appears on the internet. It's on GameFAQs, it's on the 15 forums. That's not shipped. That's not sold, it's shipped. See, even I'm getting it mixed up. People who argue that shipped is not sold, therefore you can't jump the gun. No, I even had it on my own video. This is kind of off of the back of that 5 million shipped video. You can't jump the gun there, that's only shipped, that's not sold. To which I responded, and so what? What does that mean? And so I'm going to break this down. I'm going to go into the facts, the figures. It literally is the most asinine argument you could make. There is no difference between shipped and sold in terms of the financial success of the game. When retailers buy out the game, they are buying it from Square Enix. That is a sale for Square Enix, that is in their pocket. If they don't ship it off of their shelves, that is their loss. It's not Square Enix. The one thing I will concede, or two things I will concede, is sold, yes, that does indicate popularity. So, you know, with the Kinect, for example, I believe Microsoft were massively trying to inflate how well the Kinect had done by referencing their shipped units. I'll just say, pretty much all companies do this. Sony, Microsoft, the whole lot. And then there were Kinects sat on the shelves in their millions for a very, very long time. And them saying that it had sold X, Y, and Z made it seem more popular. Every company, every developer wants their product to seem like far more popular than it is, as popular as possible. I will concede that. But this is why I want to do this video, to point out why that is different to this, even on the popularity front. So the 5 million units sold for Final Fantasy 15, like I said, they were including the digital downloads, they were including the ones shipped straight from Square Enix. Now, even just looking at the digital downloads, broke historical records. Historical records, and not in just Japan, all across Asia. So on those two facts alone, the 5 million has bulk to it. Now going on to just what they've shipped out. This is a tracker for Final Fantasy 15 availability. Now looking at it, this is just for Deluxe Edition. Amazon Deluxe Edition went out of stock 30th of November. It came into stock, went straight back out of stock on the 30th of November, a day after the release date. Then they got it back in stock, a whole bunch back in stock. 2 days later, out of stock again. And that's not just for Amazon, that's also across GameStop. Then there's even reports of various different game stores going out of stock of Final Fantasy 15. So there's clear evident proof that we can see online, and that is what caused the Amazon Prime problems. For anyone who isn't quite sure, there was loads of stuff going around that people weren't getting the Amazon Prime copies that they had pre-ordered. This is the reason why. They're going out of stock. Even stores are. So this illusion, or this attempt for haters to try to make this argument that, oh, it's only 5 million shipped, not sold, therefore it could have millions of copies just sat on retailer shelves, not going out the door. Looking at all the reports online, that really isn't the case. The thing is with retailers is they only try to buy a finite amount. They only try to buy as many as they think they're going to sell, because again, like I said, they buy it from Square Enix. The loss will be on them if they don't sell it. So the fact that even Square Enix didn't anticipate breaking digital download record, it's very obvious to see that even retailers, there's a higher demand than even retailers anticipate. And even if we just look at everything else, let's look at beyond the Deluxe Edition, Ultimate Collector's Edition sold out within 30 minutes. Square Enix even said that they were surprised they shot off that quickly. That's why they then tried to surplus it with another 10,000, I believe it was. So even that took them by surprise. And then even if you just factor in just the bare figures, we don't even need to be talking about retailers and shipped versus sold. Again, you've got the digital, you've got the things being shipped straight out the door. It's 5 million in 24 hours. 5 million. Now let's even just fantasize in the scenario that the people who want to try to discredit this success, shipped isn't sold. Okay, worst case scenario, what do you think? Even if it was 3 million in 24 hours, phenomenal. That would be trumping everything. Like I said, not even Uncharted 4 did that in 2 weeks. Now, some people have tried to say, oh, well, Uncharted 4 is PS4 exclusive. How many do you think Final Fantasy 15 is going to be selling on the Xbox? It's going to be 500k max. There's really no looking at these figures and trying to manipulate them in a way into twisting this into Square Enix trying to overhype their products. Because I admit that has been done. We've had various reports that Microsoft and Sony have done it, like I said, with the Kinect. Some people have even been deceptive in the past. I believe Sony, I think there's a rumor that Sony were counting how many they had manufactured. Yeah, that is bullshit. That is twisting the numbers to give an inaccurate representation of how well it's doing. This is not the case for Final Fantasy 15. The other point I want to bring up is it's totally irrelevant anyway. Shipped versus sold. Who the fuck is making this argument? I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say you're being a pedantic prick. You do realise that 99 out of 100 times that sales figures are ever reported, they are shipped. Developers simply do not base their sales figures on what has been sold to consumers. Why would they? Think about the effort behind that, and I've gone out and I've researched this. They simply don't do it because everything that would involve, that would mean going to retailers, waiting for their sales reports coming back in a timely fashion. It would all depend on retailers reporting back, not reporting at all, most of the time reporting inaccurately. And what would it all be for? What would the developer achieve out of putting all that resource into trying to find the precise number that has gone into people's living rooms and been plugged into their PS4? Why would they put all that time and effort in? It doesn't mean jack shit to them. Like I said, they've got their sale in the bag. A shipped unit is a sale in the bag, and therefore they don't do it. So anyone who came to my last video saying that ship not sold, don't get ahead of yourself, go on to every single other sales forum, video ever, because it's been the same for all of them. Witcher 3, Battlefield 1, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, you name it. They are all based, all the financial figures are based, even all our previous Final Fantasies, FF7, FF8, FF9, all of the figures are based on units shipped. Developers simply don't base their figures on sold units because they have no way to measure it. So why are you making the argument? Why am I seeing these arguments online? Why are motherfuckers arguing about shipped versus sold? It's so irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. Even the 12 million that I reported in my last video, 12 million units were sold in 24 hours for GTA 5. That's based on units shipped. That's not units sold. How do you think they would measure that? They simply wouldn't. In 24 hours, how could you possibly get a timely report back from every retailer that purchased your game? Fuck! Even I'm getting triggered, guys. So I hope that puts it to bed. The other gripe I want to get out, and this is kind of why I want to do this video in the past. When I'm talking about, when I did Final Fantasy 15 become the most successful Final Fantasy, when we talk about the most successful Final Fantasy, there's always the same people who emerge and they quote what the current sales of ancient Final Fantasies are. So FF7, it's now at 11 million. Therefore, its sales figures were 11 million. No, its sales figures were 7.5 million. You cannot count an extra 15 to 20 years of shelf life. If you're going to tally up the success of a Final Fantasy, you do it in its first year's sales. That is exactly how the developer measures it. That is how they determine a game's financial success. That is how they tally it up, and that's how we should tally it up. Because Final Fantasy 15 most likely will cross the 11 million mark. That's how it will look. That's how it's looking. That's how it's going. However long it takes to get that, it doesn't matter. Even if Final Fantasy 15 only reaches 11 million at the 2-year mark. If in the first year it only sells 8 million, let's say it doesn't even make 10 million. Let's say that Square Enix don't even get their 10 million goal. Final Fantasy 15 only sells 8 million. Final Fantasy 15 is still a bigger success than FF7, the original. It's still a bigger success than FF13. Yeah, it's the first year's results that matter. And the other argument, and this is a level of stupidity that, fuck. Someone went on to say that Final Fantasy 15, even it does beat the 11 million of FF7 really quickly, that 11 million will then be bolstered by the FF7 remake. The Final Fantasy VII the original is Final Fantasy VII the original. That stands on its own merits. Its sales stands on its own merits. Its financial success stands on its own merits, and so will the remake. They are separate. Final Fantasy 15 is it likely to become the most successful Final Fantasy? Yes. Could Final Fantasy VII remake beat it? I kind of think it could. I think the hype train after the 15 remake, plus the nostalgia of FF7 and just the general legendary status. Yes, I do think the FF7 remake will beat it, but that will beat it on its own merits. Don't be including the sales from the original, because that is simply not fair. And I'm saying this as a FF7 fanboy. I love FF7, but if FF15 beats it and I still prefer FF7, I'm not going to use sales figures like a hack. Because this is what people do. They always do it based on what they want. If it's a game they don't like, it's shipped. It's only shipped. It's not official sales. If it's a game they love, no, official sales, official sales. Shipped is not sold is a bullshit argument. Let's drop it. Let's not tarnish Final Fantasy 15's success with such an asinine argument. And even if you really do want to continue it on, then explain how it has broken digital download records. Explain how it's constantly going out of stock and having a supply issue. And explain by what standards you would be happy to talk about the success of Final Fantasy 15. What would you be happy? What would make you happy? We will never hear about the number of units sold. They will always quote the number of units shipped because it's the only metric they can measure. It's the only metric that any developer ever measures by. So I guess we can never talk about it. We can never talk about the financial success of a game or how many units it sold, because Square Enix didn't send out the development team and a whole squad of ninjas to actually go into people's houses and check. And they went to every retailer and they clarified exactly how many units were and were not on their shelf. Do you see how fucking stupid that argument is? Until the next video. Go!
And I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe. And I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and Hennessy. I've been to the motherfucking mountaintop. Heard motherfuckers talk, seen them drop. If I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And when I bust your ass, I'm gonna continue to rock. Get your ass on the wall with your 2 left feet. It's real easy, just follow the beat. Don't let that fine girl pass you by. Look real close, cause stroll like we about to have a party. Let's get it started.